Hello my dear students. Today we are going to study about getting to know plants, which is your 7th chapter in science. So let's start. Now as we all know, the plants are divided into three main categories, which are herbs, shrubs and trees. Now what are herbs? The plants which have green and tender, means soft stems, are known as herbs. These herbs are usually short in size and do not have many branches. They are also used for food, flavoring, medicine, or perfume. In the next picture here, you can see that there are many herbs present such as spinach, mint, coriander, parsley, rosemary, sage, which we all use in our daily life. Mainly the rosemary and parsley are used as dry herbs. Also, there is a picture here which shows the herbs, that is coriander and mint, which have very soft stem. Also, they are very short in size. The next comes shrubs. So what are shrubs? Some plants have stem branching out near the base, that is at the end of the stem. Also, the shrubs are the plants whose stem is not very thick but is hard. So these plants are called as shrubs, and an area of cultivated shrub in a park or a garden is known as shrubbery. So this here is an image of shrub which we usually see in the park or the garden. See, also we know that rose is a shrub. So rose have very hard stem. It is not thick but it is very hard, and also they are big taller in size than the herbs. Here are some more examples for shrubs. Next, we see the third category is trees. So, the trees are very tall plants and have a very hard and thick brown stem, which is also known as trunk. The stems have branches in the upper part much above the ground. And also, as we all know, that trees tend to live longer than all the herbs and shrubs present. Also, they can reach up to several thousands years. So they can live thousands of years. Here are some examples of different types of tree. There are palm trees, orange tree, spruce, the willow, then bay bush and forsythia. Next category is climbers. So climbers are basically the plants which takes the support of the surrounding materials and grow upright. Plants that take support on neighboring substances and climb up are called climbers. The most common example for climbers are the grapevine, the pea plant and the money plant. Then next category comes as the creepers. The plants which have weak stem and do not take the support of any materials around it. They tend to spread on the ground and they are known as creepers. So the plants with weak stems that cannot stand upright and spread on the ground are called creepers. The most common example for creepers are the pumpkin and watermelon. We come to the parts of the plant. The first one here is stem. The stem helps the water and minerals to go to leaves and other plant parts attached to the stem through narrow tubes inside them. So the main purpose of the stem is to transport water and other minerals to all parts of the plant. As all plants contain stems, the water is transported through stems only. Here is a picture of the mechanism how the stem transports the water throughout the plant. Then we come to leaves. Now leaf is an organ of the plant. The small part through which the leaf is attached to the stem is called petiole, and the broad green part of the leaf, which we usually call the main leaf, is known as lamina. Also, there are lines present on the leaves which are known as veins, and the thick vein in the middle of the leaf is known as midrib. Also, the design made by the leaves are known as leaf venation. As you can see in this picture, this small part which is connecting the leaf to the stem is known as petiole. Then the whole leaf is known as lamina. There are small lines present here which are known as veins, and the main vein which is present in the middle is known as midrib. Now there are two types of leaf venation. The first one is parallel venation, in which the veins are in a straight line and parallel to each other. As you can see in the first picture here, the lines are in a parallel way. So this is known as parallel venation. Whereas in the second picture, there is a net-like structure on both sides of the midribs, and so it is known as reticulate venation. Then we move to the process known as transpiration. Now what is transpiration? When the water is converted to vapor from the leaves, then this process is known as transpiration. There is only one difference between the transpiration process and evaporation process, and that is the transpiration process contains leaves, whereas the evaporation process can happen from anywhere or from any material. The plants release a lot of water into the air through the process of transpiration. As you can see, the water is absorbed here from the roots. It travels to the whole plant with the help of stem, and then when it reaches the leaves, the water is evaporated from the leaf, and this process is called transpiration. Here is another picture showing the process of transpiration. The roots transport the water through the stem to all the parts of the plant, and from the leaf the water evaporates by the small openings which are known as stomata. Then comes the process of photosynthesis, which we have all studied in the previous classes. How do leaves survive only on water? It cannot survive. So the plant prepares food for itself, and the process through which the plant prepares its food is known as photosynthesis. Light and a green colored substance present in them. That green colored substance is known as chlorophyll. For this, they use the water and carbon dioxide from the air. This process is called photosynthesis. Oxygen is given out in this process, and the food prepared by the leaves ultimately gets stored in different plants, part of the plants, which are known as starch. So, in the presence of sunlight and carbon dioxide and water, the plant prepares the food for itself, and then the oxygen is given out in this process, and this whole process is known as photosynthesis. Then we talk about another part of the plant, which is roots. So the roots has the main purpose here of holding the plant firmly in the soil. They are said to anchor the plant to the soil. If there are no roots present, then the plant could be washed away with the wind or water. Now there are two types of roots. The first one is taproot. In a plant with a taproot system, the taproot is the largest, most central and most dominant root from which other roots sprout laterally. This is the main root present here, out of which there are small roots coming out, whereas in fibrous roots, a fibrous root system is usually formed by thin, moderately branching roots growing from the stem. So as you can see, here the roots are in such a way that we can feel like there are fibers present, whereas in this there is one main root. So this is the difference between the two types of roots, that is taproot and fibrous root. Then we talk about flowers. We all like flowers. Yes, we like to see them, we like to smell them. Now today we'll study what the parts of the flowers are. A flower is the reproductive structure found in plants. The prominent parts of the open flower are the petals. So the most important part of the flower is petaliole because they increase the attractiveness of the flower. The small leaf-like structure are called the sepals. As you can see in this picture, this purple part are known as petals, whereas this green part present at the bottom of the petal are known as sepals. Here you can see a more clear picture. The upper parts, which are colorful, are usually the petals, and the lower part, which are of green color, that are known as sepals. The other parts of flower are stamen and pistil. The stamen are the pollen producing reproductive organ of a flower through which another flowers can be made. The stamen produces the small grains which are known as pollen grains through which the other flower or other plant can be produced. Whereas pistil is the ovule producing part of a flower. As it is shown in the picture, here are two different pictures. The first one is stamens, whereas the second one is the pistil. Now further, we divide this stamen into two other parts, that is the anther and the filament. Anther is the part of the stamen where pollen is produced. As you can see, this is the pollen grain. So here, with the help of anther, this pollen grain has been produced. Whereas the filament is the stalk or is the connective part which connects the anther to the flower. Then next we study the parts of pistil. There are three main parts of pistil: the stigma, the style, and the ovary. Stigma, it is a sticky platform at the top of the style where pollen is deposited. So, the topmost part of the pistil is stigma where the pollen grains are deposited. The style is a long, slender stalk that connects the stigma and the ovary. So, it is like a connective part which connects the stigma to the ovary. And the last one here is ovary, the enlarged basal portion of the pistil where ovules are produced. So, here are the ovules produced through which the style and stigma comes out and they attract the pollen grains. As the stigma has the sticky platform. So, whenever there are pollen grains flying in the air, which we cannot see with our naked eyes, but there are pollen grains which are present in the air and they come in contact with this sticky platform of stigma and it gets stuck here and a new flower is produced. And here is last the picture showing the different parts of the flower. We can start from the bottom. The last here green part is called the sepal. Above that is the ovary which is inside the sepal. Then there is petal. From ovary there is style produced which is the inner part, and then the stigma, which are the three parts of pistil, whereas the stamen, the different part of the flower in which there are two parts present, that is anther and filament. Okay, so from here the pollen grains fly and here at the stigma they get collected because of the sticky platform. And filament and style both have the same purpose, that is of connecting the anther and stigma to the plant respectively. Okay, so here we complete our 7th chapter. I hope you all understood. Thank you for listening. Start from the bottom. The last here green part is called the sepal. Above that is the ovary which is inside the sepal. Then there is petal. From ovary there is style produced which is the inner part, and then the stigma, which are the three parts of pistil, whereas the stamen, the different part of the flower in which there are two parts present, that is anther and filament. Okay, so from here the pollen grains fly and here at the stigma they get collected because of the sticky platform. And filament and style both have the same purpose, that is of connecting the anther and stigma to the plant respectively. Okay, so here we complete our 7th chapter. I hope you all understood. Thank you for listening.